This is Mark Kleckman, HR Board Chair, calling the meeting to order. Our first order of business is confirming member access. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Diane Doyle.
Here.
John Lucy.
Here.
John Ferrara.
Here.
Anthony Antico.
Here.
Thank you all. Diane, I believe that we have no other anticipated speakers on the agenda. Is that correct?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay, no one else has joined us remotely?
No.
Okay, thank you. Number 2, introduction to the remote meeting. Good afternoon. This is the June 22nd, 2020 open meeting of the HR Board being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the HR Board, via video conference and Zoom, as posted on the agenda of the HR Board section of the town's website, identifying how the public may join. 3, for Zoom meetings, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video and/or telephone conference. 4, meeting materials. Materials, if any, were provided to the board members. Materials, if any, were provided to the board committee members and provided materials prior to the meeting for review, or there was no material for the meeting. I think we can dispense with applicants or their representatives. We have no outside applicants or representatives with us this afternoon. Number 5, meeting business ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. I don't think it's necessary for us to do that, given the number of people involved. Please use earbuds, earphones with tablets and cell phones. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Please be aware that video participants can see you and that you should take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. Board members should be called upon in first name alphabetical order to ease the process. If board members wish to engage conversation with the other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. We'll do not need to discuss the section on public comments since there are no outside visitors or members of the public joining us. And so with that in mind, let me move to the first agenda item, which is a call to order. Second agenda item is to approve the prior minutes of prior meetings minutes. Diane, thank you again for providing the board members with the minutes of the June 1st, 2020 meeting. Has everyone had an opportunity to read through them? Or if not, we can take a moment now. Diane, you've read through them?
Yes.
John Ferrara?
Yes.
John Lucy?
Yep.
Anthony Antico.
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to accept?
Motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the meeting minutes of the June 1st HR Board meeting, please say aye.
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 I'm sorry, we have to do that by roll call, sorry. Sorry, I believe it's alphabetical. So Anthony Antico,
Aye.
Diane Doyle,
Yes.
John Ferrara,
Aye.
John Lucy,
Yes.
Mark Leckman, yes. Next item on the agenda is employee issues. I would turn to Diane and/or John to speak to whether there are any issues that we need to discuss.
Diane?
I have none.
And I have none.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is personnel actions and job vacancies. I'm not aware of anything that has occurred subsequent to our June 1st meeting, unless I'm mistaken, Diane?
The only thing that we have is with the position of administrative assistant being filled by Julie O'Brien for the Board of
Right.
Selectmen and the town administrator, that leaves
Right.
open a job vacancy for the DPW administrative assistant position. So that is
Okay.
currently being advertised, but has not been filled as of yet. And the second thing is I will have some forms for you, Mark, to sign for a few of the items that were discussed at the last meeting, but also depending upon town meetings results, we may have our annual PAFs for you to sign.
Okay,
So we can coordinate that as well. But other than
Okay.
that, there's nothing.
we just got in an order of 20 new pens. So I'm ready to use them all in signing all those PAFs.
So I'll be in touch with you Wednesday after the meeting to see what happens.
Okay, and I assume that forms ready to go would include the forms regarding Ellen's resignation and Julie's acceptance of the role.
Yes, as well as a couple of folks that have joined us fairly recently, but you and I have not met to sign
Okay.
them. So I probably have about 5 or 6, as well as potentially the annual ones.
Okay, maybe offline, you can let me know what the time sensitivity is
Okay,
on those required signatures, and if need be, I can get over there as long as it's within the restrictions placed on visiting town hall. So we can do that offline.
okay. Other than that, I have nothing.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, John, you said you had nothing in terms of, what, did you mention personnel actions and job vacancies, PD?
Well, we only have one change. I don't know if it's germane to what we're doing, but just to throw it on your radar, the part-time administrative assistant that we have, Martha Leahy, she's in the process right now of learning how to also serve as a communications person. So that'll be nice because it gives her more diversity, you know.
Right.
She's interested in doing more, so she'll be certified to be a ACO, hopefully within the next couple of weeks.
That's great.
I don't think that changes anything as far as status or anything on her end, but Diane, you and I could talk to be sure on that as it progresses and she gets her certifications.
Okay.
So with John, I'm curious, would that save you a hire or a rec?
No, what it does is it just makes her more versatile because she works 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday during the day shifts. And what that does is when we are short on those days, she can basically do her office work at the desk, and the officer that is on the desk can be now redeployed out to the road, if filling vacancies and that sort of thing. Also, she's going to be certified for Matron Duties, so if we have any female custodies, she'll be able to help us out that way too. So
Great.
She's working out very well.
Great. In a limited department in terms of numbers, the more hats that one can wear, that's great.
Yep.
Great.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Diane. Safety issues. I have one thing to discuss that I'll get to in just a moment, but when I asked both Diane and/or John Lucy if you have anything to report relative to safety issues.
Looks like we lost John for a minute.
I'm here, but my video camera just stopped. I got a thing that says failed. So I think I broke another camera. It's the story of my life.
Well, we saw your badge online. We just didn't see your handsome face. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I have no safety issues, no issues. Nothing to report.
Okay. John, how about you, John Lucy?
I do not, other than my camera's broken.
Okay. We'll put that under user error issues.
Thanks. It's been that kind of a day.
Happy to throw another brick on the load, John. Okay, yeah, I have one issue to discuss. It came to my attention, actually, the day after we met last, which was June 1st. On June 2nd, an item came to my attention that I wanted to address. My understanding was that on that day, June 2nd, one of Newbury's elected officials had business in Town Hall upstairs, which was, I guess, prearranged and appropriate. But after that, my understanding is that this elected official took the opportunity to visit the downstairs suite of Town Hall, which at that time, given the restrictions hadn't been placed by the Emergency Management Committee, Chief Riley, Town Administrator, and the health agent. That space at that point in time was restricted exclusively to Town Hall employees, not open to the public, including elected officials. One of our elected officials did inadvertently, or I should say inappropriately, enter the downstairs suite, and apparently was quickly reminded of the fact that the members of the public, including elected officials, were not allowed in the downstairs at that particular point in time, and was asked to leave the premises, which did occur. I'm not aware that that anything related to that incident has bubbled up over the last 3 weeks. So I think it's come and gone. Not a major issue. I think a mistake. But given the fact that our purview is employee safety issues, I did think it was appropriate to mention that the incident occurred. There's been no follow-up on it. There's been no subsequent secondary offense by that individual or anybody else that I'm aware of. I think all the protocols are in place. I think they've been appropriate. Hi again, John. You're back with us. And so, again, certainly not a capital offense, but it's something that I wanted to make the board aware of, just in case something popped up down the road. I don't think it will. It's been 3 weeks now since the incident occurred, and everything seems fine since then. So that's the only thing I had in terms of safety. Are there any questions on that issue? If not, thank you. We'll move to other business and/or new business. I have nothing to address. Tracy, I know, as I'm sure up to her eyeballs with town meeting, pre-town meeting issues today, and so it's not surprising that she was not able to join us. Be able to at our next meeting, assuming she's in town. And but Diane, I'm not aware of anything else that's pressing at this point.
No, I actually checked with her before the meeting, and as you appropriately described, she is really trying to address town meeting for
Sure.
tomorrow. So there was nothing that she had for us at this point.
Okay, thank you. I'd ask the other board members if they have any new or other business to address. Anthony Antico,
No, I don't.
John Ferrara,
No, nothing to offer right now.
John Lucy.
I do not.
Okay, that concludes our agenda for today. As a reminder, our next meeting is scheduled for July 27th, 2020 at 4 p.m. Tony Antico has alerted us that he will not be available that day. My preference would be to keep the meeting in place for July 27 as long as the remaining 4 members of the board will all be present and available that day. That gives us our quorum. I can speak to Tony in advance of the meeting should he have any issues he'd like to add to the agenda, so that his voice will be heard even though he won't be with us. But beyond that, I don't have anything new. Tony, are you okay with that plan that we'll continue on without you that day? But that will give you the opportunity, I'll speak to you the week prior to see if you have anything you'd like to address, and we'd be happy to add that to the agenda on your behalf.
So that's fine. Great. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, great. So with that in mind,
Mark,
July 20, yes, Diane?
can I make a suggestion? So I will be here on the 27th. Since we'll be starting off the fiscal year 21, maybe we should start to give some thought to any of the items that maybe we, have left on the table, or things that we think moving forward, or, the board's done a great job of taking a look at our personnel policy manual, or anything that the board might think we want to take a second look at, or we want to, or not a second look at, but anything that we might want to start to put on our agenda as far as any potential projects, or just in general, anything that's come up that we think we need to sort of start to discuss.
Yeah. Diane, I think that's a great idea. We've done it in years past, and I was remiss in not thinking about it in advance of this meeting. But why don't we add to the agenda an item that talks about goal setting for fiscal year 2021?
Okay.
2021 coming up?
Yes.
2021, which starts in just about a week.
Yep.
On July 1st. We've done that in years past. Some years the goals have been grandiose, and other years they've been, minor in nature, kind of status quo and a tweak here or a change there. Sometimes it's been somewhere right in between. So that's a great idea, Diane.
Okay.
Why don't we add that to the agenda? And I would ask everyone to be thinking over the next month about what our goals might be for the year, large and or small, what we're comfortable with, what might need to be tweaked. Things, of course, will come to us from different departments, different members of the employee population, or the Board of Selectmen, certainly. In fact, what I can do is I commit to reach out to the Board of Selectmen and Tracy in advance to get their voices into the equation. Any other ideas at this point relative to that, or is it following Diane's lead, just a good idea to add that to the agenda?
I think that's a good approach. I know the one thing that still seems to be out there, we've finalized the sick policy, we've finalized the, sick bank pool.
Right.
The one thing that I see on the minutes was just the Corey policy. So that would be probably the
Right.
first thing, is to try to see if we could move that forward. But,
Yep.
I know in the past, there have been things like performance evaluations. So just starting to think about what we want to, try to accomplish for the next year.
Yep. It's a great point, and I will commit to make those inquiries in advance, so we'll have more to talk about. Speaking of that, I should also mention that I did take the opportunity to speak at some length with Tracy and with Chief Riley relative to our conversation last month about the HR board being available as a voice, if you recall, on safety matters and all things COVID related. And if you recall, the way we landed last meeting on this subject is that we all, I think, had come to comfortable agreement that safety issues outside of the employee population, town hall issues, are not our purview, but that we should take the opportunity to ask what voice, if any, we might have on an as needed basis. And I did speak to both Tracy and to the chief about that, and in particular the chief. He and I had a really good conversation about it, and he did pick up on the point that he thinks that, and I would certainly agree with him 100%, that group of individuals, he, Deb Rogers, Tracy, and whoever else is supporting them in that regard, have done a fabulous job of communicating what the town's needs are, what the town's protocols are, what the town's policies are relative to COVID-19, town hall, other facilities, especially now that things are starting to open up a little bit. And the chief concurred, I think, his exact words, but I think he's basically agreeing that it was really important to have a centralized voice in town. And he felt secure, and I certainly agreed with him, that the collective voice that he, Tracy, and Deb have had has been heard in town. People have been receptive and in agreement, I think, by and large, with everything they've done, and that the chief preferred that group remain the official voice in town, if you will. He knows that we are available to him on an as-needed basis for something ad hoc or something that comes our way. But I think at this point, I think we should continue to work under the assumption that should anything come our way as an individual or as a board, we should refer it immediately on to the appropriate individual within the emergency management protocol of the chain of command, if you will. And I'm certainly very comfortable that they will handle it, post haste. So nothing else, I think, for us to be doing at this point on this overall subject. Any other thoughts on that? Diane?
Nope.
Tony?
Nope.
John Lucy? John Ferrara?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. With that in mind, let me ask if there's a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Oh,
And seconded?
Second.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank
See you on July 27th, and Tony, I'll talk to you in advance.
okay, great, thanks.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.